You remember that feeling when a team looks like it's run out of excuses and all it has left are stories? The Steelers gave us one of those on Sunday, a night where Aaron Rodgers looked human, the offense sputtered, and the scoreboard read 25-10 in favor of the Chargers. Then, in the quiet aftermath of a primetime dud, the front office quietly did something that feels small and maybe inconsequential, and maybe, if you squint, significant. They activated Will Howard, the rookie sixth rounder who's been rehabbing in the background, and suddenly the quarterback room has one more set of cleats in it. That's the surface. The deeper thing is this. The team that came into the season trying to be savvy and steady now has to manage optics, development, and pressure all at once. Rodgers will start on Sunday against the Bengals. He said as much. He'll be given the leash. But Howard's activation sends a message to the room and to the fan base. The team is preparing for contingencies, and it's reminding everyone, quietly, that depth matters. Let's talk about Will Howard for a second, because the short bio is one thing, and the human story is another. The kid played his college ball at Kansas State, then transferred to Ohio State for his final year. He left with a highlight reel and a championship ring and enough intrigue to get him drafted. Then injury hit, he healed, he practiced, he grinned about 2 handoffs on the scout team like a man who'd been banned from joy for months. That image of him smiling over a simple 2-step handoff, it's the reason you love sports at the margins. Whole careers, whole personalities, living in those tiny, ridiculous moments. Now he's active. Will he play this season? Probably not. Not unless something freaky happens. He's the third-string quarterback behind Rodgers and Mason Rudolph. And when your starter is Aaron Rodgers, the bar for bench drama is astronomically high. But the real value isn't just whether he winds up throwing in a real game. The value is in the ripple effects, how he practices, how he sharpens the scout team reps that prepare Rodgers every week, and how a fresh pair of eyes and hungry legs can elevate the entire quarterback room. Sometimes, a rookie's best role is to make the starters better by being relentless in practice. Howard seems like the kind of kid who will do that with a grin. There's also a coaching calculus here. The Steelers are 5-4 and fragile at times. The AFC North is a haircut away from chaos, one bad week, and the standings shuffle. That means the front office must walk a tightrope between patience and urgency. Activating Howard is a low-cost move that preserves optionality. If Rodgers stumbles in a major way, injury, lingering effect of a bad game, or sudden loss of confidence, the team has a younger arm it can at least turn to in emergency mode. It's insurance. But insurance in the NFL also signals that the coaches are thinking forward and not panicking. That's calming until it isn't. Here's the locker room angle that matters. Veterans watch these moves. Players like Rodgers and even Mason Rudolph are human. They read tape, they read roster moves, and they read intent. When a team brings up a rookie from IR and puts him on the active roster, the message is subtle. We value competition. We value readiness. For a guy like Rodgers, that can be fuel. He's a competitor who relishes being challenged. For the younger guys, it's a reminder. Nothing is guaranteed. That internal heat can be a net positive if the coaches channel it as motivation instead of paranoia. Now let's look at the on-field reality for Sunday's Bengals game. Cincinnati is a hungry team with weapons and a quarterback who can stretch a defense vertically. The Steelers need rhythm on offense, which means 2 things: better protection for Rodgers and cleaner, higher percentage play calls. Against the Chargers, the tape showed missed assignments and pressure that made even Rodgers look like a guy playing hopscotch in the pocket. That's fixable. Often with a week of film, a couple of schematic tweaks, and a renewed emphasis on fundamentals. But the clock's ticking. The Bengals aren't going to let you retool in practice if you're tentative from the opening snap. And so you get the human chess game. Rodgers will start. He'll have the plan. Quicker throws to man the chains, some play action when the defense cheats up, and a tilt toward run-pass balance that can take the edge off pressure. Mason Rudolph will be the seasoned backup, capable of stepping in with a no-surprises package. Will Howard will be the apprentice, watching, learning, absorbing Rodgers' cadence, the play caller's nuances, and the crowd noise that turns good reads into painful hesitation. That apprenticeship is real work. It's rarely glamorous, but it's the slow arc that builds careers. This moment also asks a narrative question. What does the Steelers' season look like if Rodgers remains the rock? He's still a top tier quarterback in terms of instinct and shot making, but he's not invisible. He's 41 soon, and the margin for error is smaller. The team's safety net, depth at skill positions, a competent offensive line, special teams that don't gift opponents field position will determine whether this season is a steady climb or a stumble. Activating Howard doesn't fix those structural issues. It's a small but prudent move inside a bigger set of problems that need technical, not just personnel, solutions. Let's not overlook the emotional texture either. For Howard, this is a dream checkpoint. For the veterans, it's a reminder of the business. For the coaches, it's an exercise in risk management. And for fans, it's either a blip or a signal, depending on where your optimism sits that week. I love that low-level drama because it tells you everything about how franchises operate. The seasons that survive are the ones where small, sensible decisions accumulate into momentum. The seasons that implode are the ones where panic and headline chasing replace the steady, boring work. Here's the image to carry into Sunday. Will Howard running a crisp three-step drop in a noon practice, gloves tight, eyes hungry, grin still there after a perked handoff. Rodgers watching from the sideline, not threatened, only informed. Because the best veterans know the truth. A team with hungry backups always plays sharper, and a room with competition is less likely to get complacent. So, will Howard become a season story? Probably not. But his activation matters in subtler ways. It tightens the locker room screws. It signals that the front office is thinking in layers, and it gives the Steelers a fresh variable in a season that's still very much undecided. Sunday's game will tell us more about Rodgers' mettle and the offensive line's health than it will about Howard's future. But if you're watching the replay weeks from now, you might remember the rookie who smiled at two handoffs and later remembered those reps as the ones that made him ready when his moment finally came.